process video series. Welcome to the design process video series. I'm Ramaneri, your host, owner of Creations Landscape Designs and the Earth Friendly Landscapes blog. These video series, consisting of 8 videos, are anything and everything you want to know about hiring a professional landscape designer. From the questions you need to ask yourself to where to go both online and offline to find your ideal designer or to get ideas, from the process of design and working with a designer, and how much should you really be paying a designer. All this and more will be in this video series, and there will be a new video in this series uploaded every Friday on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/earthfriendlyla. And each of these videos will have tons of educational content so that when you get ready to hire your designer and when you find that ideal designer, you will get exactly the perfect fit for you. So let's begin. When is a good time to plan your garden? Before you even hire a designer, considering to hire a designer, you need to understand when is a good time to plan your garden. And the reality is, planning a garden can happen anytime. You're not installing anything, you're just planning something on paper, or at least your designer is planning something on paper. What that means is, any time during the year you could hire a designer and get a design for your garden. Now, typically they say the best time to install a garden is when it's not so hot out during the summer, and I would be inclined to agree. But planning a garden can happen any time during the year. Now, before you actually call a designer, you have to first understand what is it that you want with your landscape. What do you intend to do with it? What's the main purpose of your landscape? Are you having this landscape designed and subsequently installed because you want to entertain, because you want to relax, because you want to meditate, because you want to be able to have an area where you can work out, an area where your dogs or your young kids might want to play around, or maybe the grandkids are going to come over and you want an area for them to be able to smell the pretty flowers. Whatever the purpose of your garden is, you need to be clear on that purpose before you can even meet with a designer, so you have a clear understanding of what it is you want from your space. Now, of course, bear in mind, your designer is going to have tons of ideas on what you can do with the space. But your designer is not going to propose for you to have an outdoor barbecue if grilling and barbecuing outdoors is not your cup of tea. So until you can understand what the purpose of your garden is, how can your designer? So what I would do, and what I would suggest you do, is make a list of the things you must have in your space. Maybe it's a barbecue area. Maybe it's an area secluded from the rest of the garden for you and your husband to sit at night with a glass of wine curled up under a blanket. Or maybe it's an area where you want to be able to do some yoga. Whatever it is that you must have in your garden, make a note of it. And then, conversely, make a note of the things you dislike. Maybe you dislike purple colored flowers for some reason. Or maybe having an outdoor barbecue area is not your cup of tea. I'm vegan. Why on earth would I barbecue? How many fruits and vegetables am I going to barbecue? Probably not that many. So I personally wouldn't have a barbecue area. But you might like that, you might not. Make a note of the things you dislike. And then, also, make a note of colors. What colors do you like in the garden? With the flowers, you can add a whole slew of colors, and if you decide at some point you don't like that color, that's easily changeable. Also make a list of the things that you have currently in your landscape that you like. Maybe there's a tree that you planted when your daughter was born. The tree's got sentimental value, and you have to keep it. Or maybe you've got some roses that your mother planted, and in honor of your mother, you would like to somehow salvage those roses. Whatever these things are that you feel you need to keep in the landscape, for whatever reason, make note of them. And then maybe there's things in your garden that you dislike, whatever that may be. Maybe your concrete driveway is so badly stained and cracked that it just has to be redone. Make a note of it, so you understand what it is that you like and dislike about your garden. So now that you've had a clear understanding of what it is you want to achieve with your garden, it's time to gather the imagery of what it is that you're looking for. So the top places that I would recommend digitally online to look at ideas are first Houzz, HOUZZ.com. And the cool thing about Houzz is professionals post photos of their work, whether it was designed or installed by them, whether it's an interior or an exterior space. You, as the prospective customer, can save those images into idea books and show those images to the prospective professional and say, look, I've created these images of things that caught my eye, caught my fancy. Maybe a picture had a certain element you really liked, or a certain plant that just totally suited your fancy. This will allow you to get an understanding of what is possible for your landscape through these imageries, and it will allow your designer to get an idea of what is possible based on what you like. Because the designer will always have their own vision, their own spin on things, and plus, maybe something in one of these pictures you had selected turns out isn't really going to work based on the size of your garden or based on your budget. These are things that your designer will be able to tell you. And maybe your designer will come up with an alternate, more sustainable, more budget-friendly solution. And that's why collecting these images is very important. Now, the second site that you can go to get information is Pinterest. Of course, with Pinterest, it's not specific to the building industry, but yet again, similar to Houzz, you can get all kinds of ideas about your landscape. And the third site that you can go to is YouTube. Why not? You can search YouTube videos about California native plants, drought-tolerant plants, sustainable landscapes, and get all kinds of ideas there. Now, there are also some offline places that you can go to. And some of those really cool offline places are Tree of Life Nursery, Plant Depot, even Village Nurseries, even Armstrong Gardens, various nurseries and garden centers within your area. Now, these are specific to Orange County, but various nurseries and garden centers within your area to get ideas of what plants are available. Go to botanical gardens. Go to garden tours, whether it's the California Native Plant Society garden tour or the Mary Lou Hurd garden tour. Whatever it is, there's different garden tours and nurseries that you can go to get fun, eclectic, cool ideas. And you can even drive around your neighborhood. Take a drive around a few mile radius of your neighborhood and see what your neighbors have done. Granted, you'll see some things that you don't like, but at least you might see things that you do like.